Welcome to my kitchen. I'm going to make for you one of my absolute favorite salads. It's a salad that has salmon, boiled potatoes, steamed Brussels sprouts on a bed of salad greens, or arugula or plain spinach does really well for this too. And the dressing is going to be a yogurt-based dressing with a little bit of mayonnaise, Dijon mustard, a whole lot of lemon, and a whole lot of dill. And then we're going to finish it off with a little bit of mint here. So let's get started. I have some water coming to a boil back there, and I am going to start with peeling the potatoes here, and I'm going to break the potato down so it takes a lot less time to boil. So if you guys are looking for a cool idea for your compost in your kitchen, I just got like a plastic coffee thing, and then I put holes in the lid with like a charcoal filter. It's really well. It works really well. Hey Monica, did you fill out the census?
I did. It only took a few minutes.
Right? It's really easy. I got a piece of mail that had like a little password or like some kind of code or something in there, and that made it go by really fast. It probably took me like 5 minutes. It was really easy, and it gave me like a little sense of pride too, because I listed myself as the head of my own household. And I remember the last time I filled out the census was with my family, when I was still living with my family as a kid. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I felt that way too. Getting to be the head of the household.
Yeah.
It was pretty exciting.
Yeah, so talking to the viewers there, you should really fill out the census because it is really very important, and it's easy. I know some people might think that it's too intrusive, or that, you know, the information is going to be, you know, used for all kinds of stuff. It's not. I mean, I think we give over more information to Facebook and Tinder and all kinds of different apps. So
what kind of questions did they ask you?
Well, they asked for like my name, and then my race, and how many people live in my house, and like 3 or 4 other questions. So if you have, you know, if you're curious about what questions are in the census, you can go to 2020census.gov, and there you can see exactly the online survey and then the survey that's going to be mailed to you. So fill it out. It takes very little time, in less time than it takes to boil water, really. Speaking of boiling water, that needs to go up. So my potatoes here, I'm going to cut them into equal sizes, about that size. This is a big potato, so it'll cut into 4 pieces right there. Yeah, and that just makes them makes it easier to cook there, speeds everything up, and then cooks equally. So I'm gonna do the same thing with my Brussels sprouts, because we're gonna steam them on top of the potatoes. So I'm just gonna cut off this dry end here and cut them in half.
What if you don't like Brussels sprouts?
You can use green beans. I put green beans in here. Just some kind of like green vegetable. I also used asparagus for this one too, and that worked out really, really well. And if you don't like salmon, or maybe salmon is too expensive, because this cut right here was about $10, you can use canned salmon. You could do like a medium well steak or medium rare steak. That also is really good in this salad. This dressing is kind of similar to like a tater sauce, tartar sauce. I mean, a tartar sauce, but not as but a little bit different. It still has that creaminess that kind of pairs well really good with the salmon, and some beef and chicken. I put like cold rotisserie chicken on top of this salad too, and it worked really well. So that water over there is ready for my potatoes. I'm gonna take all of this over there. If you want to follow me. And I'm just going to drop them all down here like that. And then I have this steamer basket here, and I'm just going to put this steamer basket, right on top, just like that. And I'm going to bring my Brussels sprouts over. And put them in just like that. And this will probably take about 8 minutes or so, and about the time it takes for the salmon to cook on this side. So we're going to make our pan medium-high heat, and we're going to want to come over here and prepare the salmon just like this. I'm going to put a glove on first. It took me a couple minutes to take all the scales off the salmon before filming began. But some people can tolerate the scales on there, but I cannot. So I scraped off all the scales into the trash. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to score the I'm going to score the skin just like this. It's kind of tough here.
So you're not cutting it the whole way through?
I'm not cutting it the whole way through. I'm just going through the skin and a little bit through the flesh here. And then I'm going to season it with salt. Ooh, almost went through there. Season it with salt on the skin and try to get into these areas here on both sides. And with some pepper. Oops. On both sides. And then I'm going to hit it with a bunch of olive oil. Just make sure that all gets in there on both sides. And you know, if you want more protein in this salad, maybe you want to stretch out the salmon and have this feed like 3 or 4 people. What I've done is I've added eggs, sometimes like hard-boiled eggs, soft-boiled eggs, to this recipe, and that works really well too. So I'm going to do skin down, just like that. And it's going to take about 3 to 4 minutes on each side, but we really want to have that high heat on the skin part because we want a crispy skin. That's going to be the crispy element inside of this, inside the salad. So now I can start on the salad dressing. Let's do my hands a quick wash here. But in my time as a food writer and as a food podcaster, I learned, from talking to dozens of native chefs and farmers and people who are working in the food industry, I learned that one of the most important things in this whole movement, in this whole food movement, is to cook. Like, a lot of this doesn't really mean anything if individuals like ourselves don't cook and don't broaden our palate. So, for me, after learning from all of these people for so many years, I learned that cooking and broadening your palate is just really, really important. And I hope this video is inspiring you to try out some different flavors, try out a new salad if you haven't had flavors like this before, and have fun with it. So,
is there anything else that you like to learn about, Andi?
The census. On the topic of the census, the census is so important because, the government uses that data to make sure there's equal and fair distribution of resources. And when I say resources, I mean like billions of dollars. I'm talking like $500 billion, more than $500 billion. That trickles down from the government into all kinds of programs in topics like, in realms like education and health and, assistance programs and relief programs, even into food programs like school breakfast and lunch programs and SNAP and WIC. So, you know, the census that takes place every 10 years, all of that data can literally trickle down into what you eat. And if a community is undercounted, if like 1,000 people, 5,000 people don't fill out the census, that literally means less money, that much less money for that community. And it could mean less money on your plate, less food in your plate. So it's really important to fill that out.
Yeah, the census is also used for determining voting districts, and this is an election year, so it's critically important.
Yes, yes it is. And it's so easy. So my
like
salad
this,
dressing.
Like this salad dressing?
yeah. You see I just added those bits here. You know, you want to have a little bit of salt. You want to have a little bit of pepper. I put the Dijon mustard in here. I put the mayonnaise in there. And then I need to add my dill. And I'm going to add a whole bunch of this.
It smells good.
It does. I'm actually going to add much more than this. That's probably about 1.5 tablespoons. I want about 2 tablespoons of dill. And you know, I'll have this recipe up somewhere around this this video post, so you can see the recipe for this dill dressing here. And I need to add my lemon juice.
Oh, you're catching the seeds in your hand?
Yeah.
That's
We don't
handy.
want seeds in our dressing.
Lots of lemons.
Yep. I'm doing about 1 whole lemon here. All right, let me check on my salmon really quick. It is looking good, so I'm just gonna flip it right now. Suggestion. It is nice and crispy. That's looking pretty good too. We'll let it go until that's done, and that should be done at the same time. So while I get the rest of this lemon in here, all right. And of course, when you're making stuff like this, you always want to taste everything along the way and see if it needs more salt, more pepper, more lemon. But it should be a really bright, dilly, lemony dressing here. And that's almost perfect. I'm going to add a little bit more lemon. Okay.
Looks really good.
Oh my gosh, it's looking really good here. Alright. That's perfect. Okay. So I'm going to go over here to test out the Brussels sprouts, see if they are done.
I always burn my hands when I do that.
Ooh! Getting there. This big one is needing just a little bit more time. Let's get in there and see about that potato. potatoes are getting there too.
Just a few more minutes?
Yeah, I would say about 3 more minutes or so. All right, so I just turned it off because it is looking done, and it is done. Look how pork tender those are. So let me just fish them out and put them into here. And I turned off the salmon too because it is done. This is the tricky part, getting this out in a safe way. And those potatoes are done there too. I'm not going to use all of these potatoes because we're making a salad for 2 people. You can tell your potatoes are done is when, you know, you can just easily poke into them like that. So we'll let them rest over here for just a bit so they can cool down and I can touch them and put them on the salad. And then we'll bring my piece of salmon over here, just right onto the board. And you can see that it is nice and crispy, nice and juicy, juice coming out of there. Everything's hot, I don't really want to touch it. Okay. So with the salmon, we're just going to pull it apart like that. And see how it's kind of like flaking on its own? That is a really good indicator that it is done very well when it just kind of comes apart into sections like that. That's a good done piece of salmon. And so putting these slits into the skin, see how easy it was to pull everything apart? Yeah.
Smells good.
Yes. Okay, so let's assemble this salad here. And not forget about the mint. We're just going to put everything on a plate just like that on top. Like I said, this is a warm salad. We want to put all of our skin in there. I'm not going to hold it against you if you don't like the skin, but I'd say that's one of the best parts about fish, about having fish. And we'll just put our potatoes on there as well. Yeah, fork tender these are. And we want to have, an equal distribution of all of these ingredients. We don't want anybody to have more or less than the other person. All across here. Just like accurate census data, we'll guarantee that everybody gets fair and equal distribution of resources. Like you don't want to have, like this salad, this census salad. You don't want to have like one side of the plate be full of salad dressing and then the other side just doesn't have anything. You want to have it equally across the plate so nobody gets more or less than the other person. All right, look at that. And I'm gonna finish it with a little bit more dill. Right there. And then a little bit more lemon juice, especially on those pieces of salmon. And then just tearing these bits of mint off. You can already, just tearing it and being rough just releases all the fragrance and all of the flavor. And you're just going to, like that. There we go. And here we have it, a warm salmon potato Brussels sprout salad with a dill and lemony yogurt dressing. And in the time that it took for me to make this delicious meal here, you could have filled out your census maybe 3 or 4 times already. So go fill it out. It's not that big of a deal. Help other people fill it out if they need help. Just go do it.